Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry. Okay, Cirrus. Next story. Kind of depressing that these people exist in the first place, but comes with a video. Body cam footage, neo-Nazis who marched in Short North claimed to be victims of violence. Would you care to see a video of a neo-Nazi spraying himself in the face with pepper spray?
I would fucking love it. I'm sorry, they're not people.
Okay. Oh, no, God damn it, pushed the wrong button. And listen for the squirt. There it is.
What the?
He just squirted himself in the face with mace.
An idiot.
And then he keeps doing, and it's hilarious because this police have them pulled over and they know they're armed and everything, so like they're having them like hold their arms above their heads. You can kind of see it in the back seat. And like I'm not gonna play the whole video, but like he keeps offering him a medic and stuff, and like like every time he's like reaching down for the water bottle, he's like, nope, keep your hands where I can see them. And then like the other guy looks like he's going for the mace, where he's like, nope, slowly, very, very slow. And it's pretty great. It's pretty great to watch. It's depressing to think that if those people were black, they probably just would have been shot as soon as their hands moved a little bit.
It is depressing to think about that, but it is also hilarious to think of a neo-Nazi just hitting himself in confusion over
spraying
and over
himself
again.
in the face with pepper spray. It was amazing. Yeah,
like, I'm sorry. I can't give any kind of sympathy to you anymore if you're openly a neo-Nazi.
Yeah,
just
well,
not a thing I'm capable of anymore.
Yeah, this is a fun little article because they're very whiny. So like the neo-Nazis told police they had never experienced a response like the one they received in Columbus. People pulled guns on them and threw cans and vegetables as they marched with their swastika flags and yelled racial slurs.
I'm gonna ask a question, and we may differ on this, but do you consider an open swastika in and of itself a threat of violence?
I'm gonna say yes.
Because I'm
self-defense, right?
I'm on the page of that being self-defense.
Punching a Nazi is self-defense, yeah.
There is no world in which you brandish a swastika in this day and age where you are not attempting to signal to people that they do not deserve to live.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are signaling to people that they do not deserve to live, then I can only consider that a threat.
Yes, punching Nazis is self-defense. My slight disagreement with you is I would not use dehumanizing language. Like, they are still human beings.
No, that's entirely fair.
But I ain't gonna have any sympathy for them when people throw cans and vegetables at them.
That was an off the cuff thing that I could have done better with. I agree with you there, because the minute the scary thing about dehumanizing Nazis is not because of how it makes us treat them. The scary thing about dehumanizing Nazis is that it distances ourselves from feeling like we could become them. So I do agree dehumanizing language was not the correct way to go about it, but that is my reasoning, not in defense of the Nazis.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with what you were going for. But yeah, no, they got big mad because people were throwing vegetables at them because they didn't want to tolerate swastikas. And that was my hydrate that Van Brigg sent 24 minutes ago. I just noticed it now. I'm sorry.
Maybe they should not be Nazis if they didn't want.
Yeah.
Maybe don't encourage violence if you don't want violence to happen to you. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. This is what I posted on Blue Sky a little while ago, how like I was saying that I think people should be afraid to be open Nazis. So yeah, the fact that these guys were all covering their faces And the guy, like, if I played the video further, like, the guy that clearly showed his face to the cop's body camera while he was taking off his mask after pepper spraying himself, he did continue to try and cover his face through the rest of the video, and it's kind of hilarious. Because like he already exposed his face fully, but like they were trying to stay anonymous. The only one that gave an ID was the driver, because it would be illegal to be driving without your driver's license. But it's like they are scared to be publicly known as neo-Nazis, and that is as it should be. There's another hydrate. Thank you for that, Conton83.
Like, I remember for a while there was this sentiment that these people should feel confident that they can let everybody know they're out and out Nazis, because that tells us who to avoid. But the problem is, the more spaces, public spaces, where people are allowed to be out and out Nazis, the fewer spaces where minorities are able to congregate, and it creates a natural phenomenon where eventually minorities leave majority spaces because they are no longer safe, because we've, quote, made a safe place for these people to showcase that they are Nazis.
Yeah. Scott D says, make Nazis afraid again. Absolutely. In a statement, Columbus police previously said they could not find sufficient probable cause to file any charges against the neo-Nazis. Boo.
That's how it always is, though. They've learned how to operate within the really, really weird confines of the American speech system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the swastika cannot be prominently carried in Germany, it should not be able to be prominently carried here. No.
Germany kind of learned the lesson there, didn't they?
Like, if the actual home of those Nazis will not allow that, then maybe we shouldn't allow it here either. The problem is that here, we don't like talking about the fact that the Nazis learned all of their tricks from us and our eugenics movement and our brown shirts movements.
Yeah, but I mean, the States imported Nazis back after the war.
Yep, we did.
Like, that was one of the things I learned while I was at the Huntsville rocket place or whatever. We
brought them here for their science. So
much shit in there about Werner von Braun, and all of it was like just glowing. He's such an amazing guy. Like he's a Nazi. He inspected concentration camps. He used slave labor from Jews in concentration camps. He never expressed any remorse for any of that. He just kind of like came over to the States and was like, yeah, no, I'm just going to pretend like that never happened. And the States was like, you're smart, so we're going to pretend that that never happened. Yeah, Huntsville Space and Rocket Center. And yeah, Project Paperclip. Exactly it. Stealing Nazi scientists. And there is an argument to be made that he wasn't necessarily a believing Nazi. He was just joining the party out of convenience or whatever. But like, you still became a Nazi and inspected concentration camps for your slave labor out of convenience. Like, that's not a morally defensible position.
The problem that you run into as well is that, so we learned from the Nuremberg trials that just doing your job in any way, shape, or form was not a valid defense. It wasn't a valid defense for people in the military. The reason it was not a valid defense is because if you let that be a defense, the more there's a critical mass of people who can use that defense before you just create a movement where you can't point blame at anybody, despite that they're all the ones doing the actual actions that are bad. At a certain point, the buck has to stop somewhere, but the buck can't just stop at the leadership. You need to be able to hold the people who are actually doing the terrible actions accountable. If you can't, then they can just put a scapegoat in the front and hide behind that scapegoat every single time they are doing anything untoward.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, the neo-Nazis were in Columbus. They were wearing black and red clothing, carrying black flags with red swastikas. They told police they were leaving because they were under attack. Oh, poor babies. In the background, bystanders shouted at them to take off their masks, because they're cowards who have to hide behind their mask, because they know that they can't be out-and-out Nazis in public and have their identities known.
And like there are legitimate times to wear a
That is a
mask
good
to
thing.
hide your identity. When
Yeah.
you know that you are on a
Oh, like I'd fucking say any fucking protest right now, or like during the Trump administration.
it is a smart thing to keep your face hidden.
Do not have your cell phone with you. Like,
Yep, because they'll use location data
don't
to
even
track you.
don't even have it with you. Like even in airplane mode or whatever. Like no, just don't. Don't take selfies. Don't take video. Or if you like wear a mask. Yeah, no, there's
And wear a mask under the mask. So if somebody tries to demask you, there's just a fucking like pulled down beanie under there.
yeah, it's scary times. But yeah, there are legitimate reasons to wear a mask at a protest. Because you're a Nazi
Is not one
of them.
So
if
fun
you're a
fact,
Nazi, don't wear a mask. Just ignore all that advice. If you're a Nazi, take all the selfies you want. Don't wear a mask. Bring your cell phone with you.
I need to.
Hell, Trump will probably give you a spot in his administration if he sees that you were there. So police said they'd received a report that they were spraying people with pepper spray and hairspray. The neo-Nazis said that they were pepper sprayed first. Good. And they hadn't instigated any violence.
They openly wore proud swastikas. That is an instigation of violence. I'm sorry.
Yep, I agree. Because what does the swastika represent? Genocide, eugenics, violence.
Like it represents nothing but an admission that you would do harm to me and my loved ones. That is what it represents. And to argue otherwise is to be a liar.
Mm-hmm. So one black officer tried to reason with the marchers, pointing out that they were bound to see confrontation from people shouting hateful things.
Hitler was right.
Yeah, no, I like how they go out of their way several times to like make sure, like, oh yeah, there was a black officer there. The black officer talked to these neo-Nazis or whatever. It's almost like I have a black friend though. According to police records and video, officers followed the neo-Nazis to the Goodale parking lot where they loaded themselves into a U-Haul with Arizona license plates to leave town. Officers then pulled the U-Haul over to continue investigating the assault report. And then they complained about being told to keep their hands above their heads, saying they were losing circulation. One said they had to use the bathroom. He has to pee himself. It's like, you know what, bitch? I covered a thing where the frickin' NASA security guards detained a woman long enough that like she ended up wetting herself because she couldn't use the washroom because they suspected her of stealing moon rocks. And like the background to that was she was given a moon rock by an astronaut. And they found out about that and was like, no, all the moon rocks belong to us. And yeah.
Fucking.
So like, if NASA police can do that over fucking moon rocks, then like, fuck you, you're a Nazi. If you piss yourself, you piss yourself. I don't care.
It's even funnier when you piss yourself. That's just me though.
So one neo-Nazi carrying a long fixed blade knife at his hip was placed into the back of a police cruiser after police said his hands were too close to the knife. Another was armed with a gun. The driver was armed with pepper spray. Officers said, yeah, if they were black, then a bunch of them would be dead and the rest would be in jail by now. So the fact that they let neo-Nazis off. And it's like, I know it's a common joke, but I'm like, the police were kind of like, if like the end of the video, you can see the police kind of laughing at each other about it, but like, I feel like the police kind of sympathize with them.
I mean,
because they're American
some of those
police.
Who work forces.
It's American police.
They're just like, yeah, this is like the locker womb talk. The locker
womb talk.
Locker womb talk.
That's a Freudian slip if I ever heard one.
The babies in the womb learning to be racist. Jesus Christ, no. It's locker room talk for them, but they're not allowed to do it publicly. Regolith is sharp as fuck, not good sex toy material. Yeah, apparently the astronauts really, really fucking hated the regolith. Officer said, oh no, this is highlighted because the thing glitched out and decided it wanted to highlight that. But apparently this was Hate Club 1844, was this neo-Nazi group. They actually call themselves Hate Club. Like,
if you're joining something called a hate club, just go to therapy. It's okay.
If you want to join,
everybody needs therapy.
If you want to join a hate club, just play Magic the Gathering. We can all hate Wizards of the Coast together.
Yeah. So, but like, if you find yourself joining something that actively calls itself a hate club, you need therapy. Like, yes, everybody needs therapy, but you probably need therapy more than most people. In 1844, they got their own number wrong. I imagine there's some other significance to that, but I am not looking it up because I don't fucking care. They're Nazis. Fuck them.